What's going on, everyone? This is Jolie for We Are Tottenham TV, and I'm with my old man today, Mish Pops, after a very, very disappointing 3-0 loss away to Man City. Yeah, all the pain I go through as a Spurs fan, Dad, it's all thanks to you, so cheers, boss.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're still talking to me. I apologise.
No, I mean, let's just break down the game today. Let's start, first of all, with individual errors. It's been a big talking point on We Are Tottenham today. And I want to break that down with you. And I want to ask you, first of all, what does this boil down to? Because you've got a few things. It can be the board. It can be Mourinho. And for me, as much as you can look at Mourinho, and I have said, of course, he bought 7 players, Mourinho. He spent the money that he's been offered. However, that extra 10 million on Skriniar would have been vital for our season, I think. So, yeah, start, first of all, with how are you actually? And where's the problem lie with these individual errors? Because at face value, of course, it looks like it's just the defender's fault, but there's a deeper problem here for me.
Well, I think ultimately the recruitment has been pretty poor. With recruitment, though, one thing I would say, Joseph, is it's a massive gamble, right? You can buy a player, but you spend loads of money on it, but you've got no idea what that player's going to be like. Do you remember when Liverpool bought Virgil van Dijk and they ended up paying 75 million? First, that deal was going to be sort of 40 million or something like that. And then Southampton wanted a lot more, 75 million, right? At the time, people were thinking that is a lot of money. People would think Liverpool were getting ripped off. Now, that same player, 100 million. So that's the gamble with it all.
One thing I will say is at least Liverpool took that gamble on Van Dijk. We didn't take a gamble knowing we have Dyer, knowing we have Sanchez, knowing that we have Toby Alderweireld. Toby's been okay. I don't want to scapegoat him. But Dyer and Sanchez, that wasn't a gamble at all because they've played for Spurs before. For me, a gamble with an extra 10 million to complete that makeover that we needed in the summer, and that would have been vital for our season. So as much as you can look at Jose at times, for me, the deeper issue lies with the board.
Right, okay. I think that when you come to clubs and spending money, you've got Chelsea, you've got Man City, you've got Manchester United. Those 3 teams in this country are the elite of the elite. They can go out, and Liverpool, they can spend 70, 80, 90 million pounds on not 1 player, 2 players or 3 players because they've got the money coming in. They've got vast support, vast backers, and they can spend that sort of money as well. We're in the next tier down. The next tier down on that. So those top players all want to go to their clubs because they're paying the top money. So we're the next tier down. So our recruitment has to be spot on because we can't afford those big players. And we've taken a gamble on a lot of players and it just hasn't worked out. There's a lot of players we bought and I'm afraid they're just not up to it. You're seeing it now. They're just not up to it. Mourinho wants them to do things they're just not doing on the pitch. They're not listening to him or they're just not good enough. It's a combination. So when you come back to those individual errors, what we're talking about, I think that partly Mourinho is to blame because I looked at City today and I thought their team, they work as a team. They work as a unit. They hunt impact. Spurs player has the ball and he's surrounded by 3-4 players and they cut off all his options. All these options, Spurs players in the middle, they're swarming him. They're all getting around him. They block off everything. If the first player doesn't get him, the second player gets him, the third player. And they're active. They're running around. You watch them. When you watch them closely, we don't do that. The player's on his own. He's looking for someone. Next player's 15, 20 yards away. Doesn't make an angle for him. So that player then loses the ball back to City again. So you get no possession, no flow of the game. We had a bit more flow towards the end, but by then the game was all over. So, I think that if you're talking about spending money, I think that we're in the next tier down. We have spent a lot of money, but the money we've spent on, unfortunately, are players where the recruitment just has not been good enough. There's a lot of players, I think, who are sort of coming towards the end of their time anyway. As I said, like Winks, maybe Lamella. I thought Lloris has been really poor this week, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe we need, I don't know, he's in his early 30s, maybe we still need to start looking again for another goalkeeper, because it's certainly not Joe Hart. But so it's a mixture, really. It's a mixture of, when individual errors come, I think the reason why City make less of them is because they work as a team and no man is left on his own. Sanchez for that goal was left on his own, right? There was no one around him. So when he slipped, it was almost comical because he had no one backing him up. He's in the middle of the park and he's on his own. There should be at least 2 or 3 players near him. City, it wouldn't happen that way. There'd never be a lump of ball and it goes straight through the defence and the other way around. In fact, I don't know how many teams that would happen against.
So are you trying to say the fact that City play as a team is, of course, to do with the manager?
Yeah.
So there has to be some blame on Mourinho as well.
Yeah, no, I do put a bit of blame on Mourinho because he's. I don't know. They just don't seem to be working hard enough. Sometimes I see the players and they seem to be jogging, and when they pass, the pass isn't sort of zipped across the park. So there's a lot going wrong because football's all about fine margins, right? So when you pass to someone, if you do it slick and it gets them, you can buy yourself an extra fraction of a second to pass to the next person, and then you can beat that player because and you could get a crossing because these crosses you can get a crossing like in a fraction of a second because you've beaten him because the passes are slicker. And the movement's all better. And City do that in abundance. I know they're the best team. I know they've spent the best money. But Spurs do have the capabilities of doing that. And I thought we'd probably be at that stage now with Mourinho. And I'm so disappointed that we haven't been. And we started off well and we're just slipping down. But the only thing I would say is that we've played a lot of big teams. And we have got Manchester United at home and probably Arsenal away. And I think the rest of the teams... Yeah, and mid-table and below, you know, and we I think we've got Leicester as well. That would be a tough game, but you know, we've got teams that we should on paper. No, it's not on paper. We should be able to beat. You know,
I agree. And although, of course, we're saying there's blame on Mourinho here, a lot of the individual mistakes, like I said, face value is the players. So there's part of me where it does think Jose Mourinho can do no more. But at times, the way you set out can be more prone to these individual errors. I want to go back onto the game today, obviously, which did have loads of those individual errors. However, I want to talk about the first half because Kane, with that beautiful free kick just on the inside of the post, if that goes in, are we even talking about individual errors? Because things can happen in Spurs games. And like you say, it's by fine margins. But if that goal goes in, we're on cloud nine.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is what I'm talking about. That goes in. That's like 2 inches on the left, and that's going in. So I'm not sure the goalie would have got that. So and then you 1-0 up, and then I would have hoped. I mean, Mourinho may have sat back on that and hoped for the best. He may well have done that. He may have pulled it off, and we may have won. But that's what it's all about. It's those fine margins, and I don't think we give ourselves the best opportunity. You know, there's that saying: isn't it, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I just don't think we're working hard enough to buy ourselves that luck at the moment. And I'm surprised with Mourinho at the moment that he hasn't got the best out of every player because there's a lot of players there who do have the ability, but for some reason he's just not getting the best out of them. You know, like Bale and Ali. So that's why I'm a bit. That's why a lot of it has to lie on Mourinho. Why is he not getting the best out of these players? Because a lot of them can do it. A lot of them can do it. You know.
How do you see the next week playing out then, because we've got a huge game against Wolfsburg? They're sitting 6th in the Austrian league. We often have a shaky performance against these sorts of teams because we're expected to win, and a lot of the time we put our B side out. How do you see it going? Thursday, 5:55 p.m. kickoff. It's going to be one of our biggest games of the season, without a doubt.
Well, the thing is, because it's over 2 legs, it gives us a chance. You can mess one up and bounce back another leg, and we do that sometimes. On a one-off game, you're a bit more scared about that because you make one mistake and bang, you could be out of the tournament. So because it's over 2 legs, I think that we'll be okay. But you are right. You're in the last stages of the UEFA Cup now, or Europa Cup, and the teams are going to be decent. And they're going to set out in a way to try and frustrate us, even though we have got the better team. I think that, I think Mourinho has to play his strongest team, and that's more burnout for players. And the reason why that's burnout for players is because the backup players haven't come in and done the job. You was hoping Vinicius was going to come in and relieve Kane to a degree, Joe Hart to, stand in goal. But a lot of these players haven't done what we all thought they would do, So you end up putting Kane on longer and all these players and then you've got another league game coming up and it's just game after game after game after game and it can burn players out.
Exactly. And we've been Jose him throughout the season. I still am here sitting here today, and if he wins this trophy at the end of the season on April the 25th, we're, as Spurs fans, we're happy because for the first time in 13 years we've got a trophy. So
exactly,
there's still time.
No, exactly. This whole season is based on that day in April. If he wins, he can say, well, look, there's your trophy. There's your first one. Leave it with me. I'll get you trophies. Don't get me wrong. This is not going to be an easy game, but I think we'll have a different game to what we saw today. But if he turns up and he wins a trophy on that day, right? He says, yeah, there's my trophy. Give me more time. Give me more money. And we have to almost say, give this man. And I don't think getting rid of him is the answer anyway. I don't think there's enough managers out there who are qualified, nowhere near qualified as him, have got the experience. He just needs the time. Klopp took him 3 or 4 years to get it right at Liverpool. I remember
there's a lot of stigma around Mourinho as well. Carry on.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're too young to remember, but Alex Ferguson, it took him 5 years. And on his 5th year, there was a game, a cup game, right? And if he lost that game, he was going to get sacked. And I think it was Mark Robbins, I think he scored. And in the last minute, saved Ferguson's job. Then they went on to win the League Cup. Then next year they went on to win the FA Cup. Then they won the Europa Cup. Then they went on to win the league, and it built on from there. And he was at death's door. He really was going to go. So sometimes it does take time. I hate this changing managers all the time, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing as football fans. Sometimes it does come across as being so fickle, but there's so many factors. Yeah. There's so many factors in everything we do. At the start of the season, everything Mourinho did was fantastic. We didn't need a centre back. The 7 signings were perfect. Now we've got such bad form, and now we're blaming the board again, even though they did splash out on 7 new signings. So it's so hard to put a finger on what the real problem is. But as long as we stay in the 2 cup competitions, and let's be real, 13 years since we've run a trophy. If we can get that one over the line, then Mourinho's done what he came here to do. And don't get me wrong, we need Champions League as well. So give him another season, just because he's known around the world for that second season being his season. He's got a 3-year contract. He can bring in a centre back next year, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, I think that because if you get another manager in, you're going for another rebuild. You're shipping out another players. You're bringing another players. Let Mourinho do his job. Do you know what I look at it? It's like Mourinho is painting a picture at the moment, right? And he's painting us. But we keep getting up halfway through the picture, looking at it and saying, "Oh, that picture's rubbish." Mourinho's saying, "I haven't finished the picture yet. Let the man finish the picture, right?" Yeah. And then, if at the end of the day we look at the picture and go, "That picture's rubbish. You've got to go." That's fine because he's finished it. At the moment, the man is still painting. Let him finish it.
It's all about time.
Yeah, let him finish it, right? And then we can say that. And that hopefully we win that game. The biggest game of the season is that game in April. That is the make or break. If he loses that one, then he loses support left, right, and centre, and he's left hung out to dry, unfortunately. You know, he's here to get trophies.
100%. And I know we haven't talked much on this City game today, but I don't think many of us expected us to win. So,
nah, not really.
The bigger problem right now as Spurs fans, and the bigger conversation that needs to be had is, where are these real problems lying? I think it's a healthy conversation to be had. So I really appreciate your time. Big game on Thursday.
Joe, before I go, right? Look what I found. I was clearing out the loft. Look at this T-shirt. Look at this T-shirt. Look at that, right? I don't know if you can see it.
Going in the
that is the
97.
FA Cup. 91. That was
91 FA Cup. Okay.
Yeah, that was the last time we won the FA Cup. Yeah, this T-shirt has been seen some days. Look at it, holes all over the place.
Fair few holes in it as well.
Yeah. That is a fair few.
Just like the defence.
Yeah, it is like after defence. That says the FA Cup final on the 18th of May, 1991. The last time we won the FA Cup. That's that T-shirt I got there. And you know, that's 30
We need
years
another
ago.
day like that.
I was your age when we won the cup. That's how long ago that was now. You know, so it's ridiculous. So we do need another trophy, and hopefully it will be, you know, in April. Not the big trophy, but it's a trophy. You know.
And that's the main thing. I really appreciate your time, Pops.
Yeah.
It's been a strange one. It's like a normal conversation for us. But thanks everyone for watching as well. Let us know what you think in the comments below. There's some very, very controversial talking points. And what can we do towards the end of the season? How can we pick up the form? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.